supremacists.
Can you be a white supremacist if you're Puerto Rican or Mexican?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can, because 80% of the people in Puerto Rico identify as white. They list themselves as white. Of course you can. Yes.
All right.
So why are you, okay, so Mr. Puerto Rican, we're in here talking about black issues. What's your constructive reason to be in the conversation?
A lot of white people like your stuff and follow your stuff and pay attention to what you're doing just because it's interesting,
I
not because
understand
they're
that, but
haters.
we're talking about black empowerment, and you're chiming in, talking about white supremacy doesn't exist and all that. So are you,
Maybe I'm being,
white supremacy?
you know how it is. I'm sure I'm being a little overly aggressive and sarcastic. You know, I'm being a keyboard warrior, but I do think it's blown out of proportion so crazy, like used as an excuse so much. And I think, I don't know, it's just, it gets old, man. I just think it's sad
So
because
black people, so
go
you
ahead.
say black people, so you said that it's an excuse for black people to fail. Did you say something to that extent?
No, but I think some black folks, not all, of course, but I think some black folks will always point the finger at white supremacists or some invisible white oppressor before they ever turn the lens on themselves.
Oh, okay. So what's the problem that black people have that they need to turn the lens on?
Well, I don't know. If I had to venture a guess, I would say fatherlessness,
Okay.
moral character, you know?
Okay, moral character. So
Crime.
what okay, fatherlessness and crime, moral character. Okay, but you're Puerto Rican, and there's a crime rate in Puerto Rico that eclipses crime rates among Black Americans. So how come you haven't done anything? What's the moral character with the crime rate in Puerto Rico?
Exact same issues. But I don't see Puerto Ricans largely pointing the finger at the white folks. It's their problem.
You're pointing the finger and coming over here to get around what foundational Black Americans built.
I'm supportive of the whole thing. I think it's awesome. Your movies, I think the museum is going to be an incredible idea. I'm supportive. I think most people are.
Okay, but
even
going back
white
to
folks.
Puerto Rico, but you say they're not pointing the finger at no white people, but y'all haven't done anything about the crime in Puerto Rico. I'm hearing there's broad daylight jackings on a regular basis out there. The prostitution is off the chain. The
Absolutely.
crime is rampant.
I'm sure it is.
But how come you haven't fixed your culture instead of coming over here pointing at Black culture, which we're trying to fix? This is what we're doing. This is why we're getting museums. This is what we're doing. We're trying to get things where we can fix our community, and you're jumping in our conversation, but you haven't fixed the issues in Puerto Rico, sir.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's be realistic. Who's going to fix the issue in an entire community? I think an opinion is fair to share. I think everybody pays attention and offers their opinion on everything. I don't think you have to be gay to mention a gay issue. You have to be Black to mention a Black issue. I just think it's okay to make an observation without, you know, having to be a negative person or a hateful person or a white supremacist. Most people are not white supremacists. You know, I thought white supremacists were like, yeah, I'm a white supremacist. So what? White is right. We made everything. I mean, how come white supremacists don't claim it?
Those are white extremists. Those are white extremists. And white supremacy exists because the white supremacists, the people who created the system of white supremacy, said that they were creating a system of white supremacy. That's their word. That's not our word. White supremacy is their word. They have Confederate statues all over the country of people who were promoting white supremacy to this day. So white supremacy is a very real thing. That's their word. You understand? It's not nothing that we made up. They badged it into our heads that they were white supremacists and white people are going to be supreme. You understand that?
I can understand that.
Okay, but going back to the fatherless thing, let's go back to the fatherless thing. You said another problem with Black people is fatherlessness. That's a problem with Black people?
What's a problem everywhere, but the numbers are high in the Black community. I'm sure.
Well,
I mean, I know the government has a big thing to do with that. Democratic policy, welfare state. I mean, it's an issue that goes way beyond just the Black community, but that's an issue there.
Okay, and you
got to have a man in the house to raise those men.
I assume that you're right wing, right? You're a right winger.
I see myself as right of center. Yeah.
Right. And what's interesting, you're a right winger, but Trump went out there to Puerto Rico and disrespected everybody. He was throwing paper towels at you guys, at your people. But
I don't think that's. I think that's no big deal. Who cares? I mean, that was so petty. You know?
Yeah. Okay. See, that's the difference between you and us. See, You guys were victims of white supremacy to the point where you started to identify with your oppressors. So when they do something based on white supremacy, oh, it's no big deal. See, we look
throwing
at
paper
all
towels. I
white
mean, if he
supremacy.
wouldn't have went there, they'd say, "Oh,
Yeah.
he didn't even go. He went threw some paper towels." You know, Trump. He's a freaking crass American. Definitely.
So
It's his personality.
okay.
People were there with their hands up, so he threw the goods. I don't think that's the worst thing he's done.
Oh, okay. And that's the difference between the way you guys view white supremacy and the way we do. See, we look at white supremacy as a big deal. We fight white supremacy. We're the only group that's constantly fighting white supremacy. You have to admit that y'all been conquered by white supremacy.
I don't know who you mean by y'all. Who do you mean by y'all? Puerto Ricans?
White identifying non-Anglo Puerto Ricans such as yourself.
You know, I've never identified as white my entire life. Never in my life.
I do not
never.
Believe it. That's a lie. I can almost guarantee your paperwork says that you're white. Please don't lie, sir.
Sweet.
I can almost sir, stop it. Stop, sir. Your paperwork says you're white. Almost every Puerto Rican who comes over here, even the dark ones, put white on their paperwork as race. Don't
never
play
in my life. Never in my life. I get insulted. Listen, when my black friends.
Okay, listen. No, stop it. Because they only have a couple of race categories. They have white, black, native, indigenous. They have 3 basic categories.
Then I gotta click white. Got no choice. Then I have no choice.
Thank you. Well, you could choose indigenous. You could choose that, but you don't identify as indigenous.
I click Hispanic.
Hispanic is not a race. That's an ethnic group.
But that's a box.
And they
specify
that on the census. They specify that on the census. Okay.
Okay. Let me just tell you one little thing about me, and I'm being totally honest. I swear on my daughter. Growing up, I always considered myself Hispanic, right? A lot of my friends, especially my black friends, they just think I'm white. You know, it never came up. And when it does come up, when you're like, "Oh man, you white boys are always," I'm like, "You white boys? Why would you call me that? I'm Hispanic." And they laugh at me like, "You don't want to be white." They laugh at me. I don't like being called white. I never have. And I think Hispanics feel the same way. I honestly, it's makes me feel corny.
No, stop it. They don't feel that way. In fact,
I do.
Over here to make Hispanic a race, it was Hispanic organizations that fought against that. LULAC and all of these other Hispanic organizations, they said, hell no, we want to be classified as white. So they had to change the census again.
I can't relate to that.
Later. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
No, I can't. Tariq, you have my word.
That,
you have my word. I cannot relate to that.
You're conveniently ethnic when it serves. At the end of the day, you guys identify with your conquerors.
I would have no problem saying it if that was the case.
Yeah,
listen, you have my word as a man. I have no problem. If that was the case, I would just say it if I did. I don't like to be called white. I don't like it. It's always annoyed me my whole life.
But at the end of the day,
I'm just being honest.
Doors, you make sure that you get labeled as white. I don't believe it. And not only that, the thing is,
I'm just being honest with you, man. You got to take my word for it.
No, y'all claim white, but don't get the benefits of whiteness. That's the thing, and that's the thing that chaps your ass. You don't really get the benefits.
I don't like white. I don't claim white. I like to say I'm Hispanic because I am. I'm Puerto Rican and Mexican.
Because
I like to respect my forefathers, man, and say what I am.
That's why. So that's why you got offended when we talk about white supremacy. You get offended, and you claim you ain't white, but you're offended when we talk about white supremacy. But
no.
Yes, you are.
It doesn't offend me because I feel like part of that group.
You what?
Listen, I think we can get further if you just take my word for what I say. I'm not lying to you.
But you got the initial conversation was you being offended over the term white supremacy. Why would you be offended over a term?
I think it's missing the point.
What's the point?
I'm telling you, because I think it's missing the point and it's frustrating to see. Not because I identify with white. I specifically do not identify with white. Never have. It annoys me if somebody thinks I'm white. I say I'm Hispanic. Okay, I'm Puerto Rican and Mexican. I know I sound like a white dude maybe.
Why do you have an issue with us pointing out white supremacy?
Because I think that it's usually missing the point. That's why. And it frustrates me, just like it would frustrate me to see my friend.
What's the point? Puerto Rico has been conquered by white supremacy, has it not?
If you say so. You mean
No,
it's an
not if I
Americanized?
say so.
It's an Americanized country.
What
Is that what you mean?
in Puerto Rico? What's the language in Puerto Rico?
Okay, yeah, American money, speaking English. You know, it's been taken over by America. Is what
Not
you mean
just
by
English,
conquered by white
no,
supremacy?
not just English, Spanish. You guys were conquered. Puerto Rico was conquered by the Spanish. Y'all think that you are offshoots of the Spanish Empire instead of the subjects and the defeated people of the Spanish. See, that's the thing. You think that you're Spanish.
Okay, let me. Do you ever deal with an individual you're talking to as an individual instead of immediately identifying them with their group? Because that's identity politics. That's why you know I'm right wing, because I don't play the identity politics game. You're black, so you're part of a black group. You're white, so you and the white supremacists. You know, I don't do that. It's not nice. And it's inaccurate,
That's an identity
usually.
group. Right wingers are often identity groups, sir. They share the same ideology. They share.
Everybody, just 100%, all the way down the line?
Okay, you kind of lost me here. I'm talking about, you kind of lost me, but we're talking about Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico was conquered by the white supremacist Spanish. True or false, sir? Okay.
I don't know. I don't want to speak on anything I'm not certain about, but I'll take your word for it.
Hold on, wait.
I'm willing to say yeah.
Is that a blue? Wait, hold on. Okay, got it. Is that a Blue Lives Matter flag in your house, bro?
No, it's just a black and white American flag.
Okay, that looked like I saw a thing up there. Hold on. Show your Trump sign. I saw a Trump sign.
Was yeah, I got a Trump flag on the ceiling.
Trump flag.
Yeah, Trump flag.
Okay. Okay, there you go. There you go. Okay, so you hardcore with it. You hardcore with it. Okay.
I mean, hardcore if you have a Trump flag?
Yeah, you're hard. And that looks like one of those.
No, it's just a black and white American flag. I got it because it was $5 and I like the way it looks.
Okay, got it.
I don't have any Blue Lives Matter stuff.
Got it. Okay, but you're talking about white. This initially started because we're talking about white supremacy. You say we point out white supremacy. Seems like, again, I might be wrong, but you don't really want to come to terms with the fact that your homeland was really a defeated colony run by white supremacists, right?
I'll take your word for it. I know it's pretty much America 51st state, pretty much.
Yeah, it got acquired by the U.S. later on down the line, but the
yeah, it'd probably be a mess if it wasn't for this country.
Yeah, okay, but the forefathers of this country were white supremacists by their own admission. So I'm just trying to see where we're incorrect, where we talk about white supremacy when and defeated the victims of white supremacy. They're the ones who said that they're practicing white supremacy. You understand?
I understand.
Okay. So again, I'm just trying to see why it was just so in parallel.
I was just sharing my opinion. You know, I was sharing my opinion. I hate when you don't focus on it enough, you think? Or the black community?
Well, of course, the dominant society, they focus on it, but they just don't talk about it openly. They talk about it behind closed doors, and they have think tanks, and they have all types of little. Well, we don't talk about it enough. I think a lot of black people are in denial about it.
Okay. All right. You know, just personally, I don't know about my group or who my group's supposed to be or whatever, but I'm not a hater. You know, I mean, I'd like to see everybody doing good. There's a mess all over every community in this country, not just black folks, not just Puerto Rican folk. I mean, lower socioeconomic white folks doing worse than anybody else, if you want to be real about it. The family, the marriage, the crime rate. I mean, but any group, if I were to peek my eyes into anybody's discussion and, you know, think that something I want to add a little bit, or maybe I feel like personally that might be missing the point, or there might be a larger issue, I might make mention of it. I mean, I'm not trying to be a hater or a white supremacist or anything like that. That's all. You know, maybe I was being a little bit of a jerk, but you know how people are behind the keyboard get stupid, so I apologize for that.
Okay. All right. There you go.
I appreciate you giving me the time, though. I am a big fan of all your movies and everything you do, so I appreciate you giving me the time.
There you go. Are you gonna? And then what you can do is donate to the museum. You can do that.
I bought your movies. I will donate to the museum.
Good. And do you? And oh, by the way, over there in Puerto Rico, do you still speak to your black abuela? Because I know you got one over there. There's a black relative over there in Puerto Rico. Do you still keep in touch with them?
She recently passed away, but I did have a very dark abuelita out there who, yeah.
Absolutely.
You're right.
Yes, you did. Absolutely. But God bless her.
I brought my black friend to Puerto Rico. He started speaking English to her. He's like, oh, she's black. He started speaking English. She didn't know a lick of English. He's like, oh, my God, I thought she was black. Like, nah, man, she's 100%.
Exactly. All of y'all.
Yeah, her grandfather was black.
Yes, all right,
yeah, you called it on that one.
All right. All right, man. But thank you so much for calling in, man. Thank you for.
I appreciate you, man. All right.
All right.
Thank you. Take care, man.
All right.